So, for those of you who don't know, the Zoomers did relatively well in the most recent election, at least insofar as their relative turnout and who they voted for. The youth vote, that is 18 to 27 or 29, depending on who's asking. We'll just say 29 for the sake of that's what the NPR article that I'm looking at says. They came out like, what was it, like 30 points ahead for Democrats on average? Does anyone have that chart? Somebody pull that up while I look at this. Now, unfortunately, despite their high turnout, we're talking high turnout for Zoomers. 27% of voters between the age of 18 and 29 cast a ballot. Thanks, Zoomers. The 1/4 of you who bothered to show up ended up giving us 2 more years to forestall the end of our democracy. You know, could I have a few more of you? Could have been a little more maybe than 27%. Yeah, I bet half of them are in my chat right now. Good job, guys. Unironically, thank you. What's the rest with you? What are you doing? What the f are you doing? Young people aren't even having sex these days. You're not even the chart that I saw. You're all losers and virgins. What are you doing with your night? You're fucking playing League of Legends. Stop playing League of Legends. You're not doing your classwork because none of you do your classwork. You don't have any friends. Just go vote. Maybe you'll meet somebody cute in the voter line. Okay? Maybe you will. Maybe you'll be chilling there in the voter line. You know, you'll be on your phone because you'll be waiting for a while, and then you'll feel something soft brush against your back, and it's because behind you a big titty anime goth girl just tripped. She's got toast in her mouth, and she tripped, and her giant pillowy tits hit you. And while she frantically apologizes to you, you're like, girl, girl, and she immediately falls for your charms. This happens to like 50% of people who go vote, okay? So fucking vote. Jesus Christ. Come on. They're totally into that. Come on. Seriously. Come on, guys. Anyway, the youth did a better job than expected. So that's cool. Here's the Republican response. I said this before. You know, the immediate impulse of the Republican, if a group of people does not vote for them, is to just make it illegal for that group of people to vote, rather than to like change their policies to appeal to those groups. That's like their like off the bat, like that's like their innate immediate. They do it with like all groups. If you're black, hey, congratulations, your county now has 1 polling place. Thank God for the 2013 removal of the Voting Rights Act. Thanks, Supreme Court. Love that. If you're fucking poor, yeah, no holiday. No holiday on the voting day. So that if you're poor and you're like working paycheck to paycheck, like you can't afford to take a day off, you know? That's great. If you're a fucking felon, the people of Florida voted to allow felons to be able to vote again, and the Florida Republican legislator was like, actually, no, we're just going to ignore the will of the people, and we are going to make it so only a tiny fraction of felons can vote again. You know, Republicans will always default to just like, if you don't like us, you shouldn't be able to vote, you know, which is great. Now, yeah, of course, the voting age of 18 is constitutionally protected, so there's nothing they can actually do about it, you know, not without a whole thing, you know. But yeah, that's like their immediate response, you know. Right now, Nick Fuentes, the least homosexual groiper. Where'd that link go? If only I had the presence of mind to keep these links on hand. Yeah, here we go. Your man Nicky F over here. That's what we call each other because we're good friends. Republican operative Nick Fuentes reacts to GOP failures in the midterm elections. We need a dictatorship. We need to take control of the government and force the people to believe what we believe. Now, again, Nick Fuentes is, of course, a neo-Nazi, but it's worth noting that right here, his position isn't actually different. Guys, it's not mask off, you retards. He's a Nazi. You go on his stream and he's just talking about the Holocaust. Like, what do you... It's not mask off. Mask off doesn't mean this person's a reactionary. It means this person has, for a moment, failed to keep up the mask. It's not... Learn the terms. Anyway, in this respect, his logic really isn't that different from the mainstream Republican Party, though. I mean, here.
You got to recognize the fact that this is a godless country. I hate it. It's immoral, it's wrong, it's heinous, it's evil, but this is an evil country. And this country will surprise you with how evil it is. And that's why you got to get this out of your head that there is some silent majority cavalry that's going to come out of the woods and save us at the last minute. It's not. When we meet the left on the battlefield and they outnumber us like 5-1, that's it. But the point is, when you look at these things like abortion, it's popular. People like abortion. Hate
Why does he sound like that? It's the lisp that they get. Don't make fun.
it, but it's true. And you can thank the Jewish media for that. Abortion's popular. Sodomy's popular. You know, being gay is popular. Being a feminist is popular. Sex out of wedlock is popular. Contraceptives are, it's all popular. That's all. That's not to say it's good. That's not to say I like that.
A reminder that one of the more recent splits that Nick Fuentes had with former associates was that they were put off by how averse Fuentes seems to be to having sex with women. God, I remember that live stream that I watched. They were like, Nick, I'm a man in my 30s. I have a wife. Why are you making jokes about it being gross to have sex with women? And then he'll like make jokes about femboys. Like, it's just he's a goofy guy is all I'm saying. And now that he shaved his beard, you know, like maybe in more way than one, you know, he's sort of returning to tradition with this homo posting, which I support fully, and I want him to live his truth. The cum couch, yes. Oh, the cum couch. When he was looking for the cum from his roommate. Oh, it's such a... I didn't even go over all this in stream, because what is even to be said? He had this roommate. It was like, you wouldn't jerk off, would you? You wouldn't jerk off, would you? I have to look for cum. If there's cum here, it means you jerked off. Check the cum couch. There's cum on the couch. I guess, I can't get into all of it. Okay.
Popular means the people support it, which they do. And it sucks, and it is what it is, but that's why we need dictatorship. That's unironically why we need to get rid of all that. We need to take control of the media or take control of the government and force the people to believe what we believe, or force them to play by our rules and reshape the society.
So the point I want to make here isn't that Nick Fuentes is a nut job and a repressor, though he is and he is. The trans porn in his phone too. No. It wasn't trans porn, okay? It was femboy porn, which is based in trad pills that he got caught having on his phone. Anyway, the point here isn't that he's weird and a repressor. The point here is that, leaving aside the bit about the Jewish media, which Republicans imply but don't outwardly state, and again, the dictatorship part, which they don't outwardly state but are currently working towards, isn't what he said right there essentially just like mainstream Republican logic? At the end of the day, I don't actually believe it's any different from this, because you see this so often, right? The way Republicans are constantly fear-mongering over the wrong people voting, like illegal immigrants who aren't voting, or people engaging in fraud, or, you know, there are people who vote who aren't really real Americans because of this reason or that. And they're not usually this explicit, but this is kind of what they're getting at, which is like, they don't really see voting as a process of democracy to represent the people. They see voting as a way of reaffirming existing power. To bring this back to a historical analogy that no one has ever used before, after Adolf Hitler was very in charge of Germany, after he was extremely in charge of Germany, unquestionably, undeniably in charge of Germany, you know, the Nazi Party had an election to sort of reaffirm the legitimacy of his rule, which looked like this. You've probably seen this before. Essentially, will you accept Adolf Hitler as your leader? With yes being centered and large, and no being smaller and to the side. Now, obviously, by this point in the development of Nazi Germany, no electoral outcome would have actually changed whether Hitler was in charge. Every single citizen could have checked no, and it wouldn't have changed a thing. So why have it at all? Why does Assad have elections that he reports on? Why do North Korean officials do this? Well, the answer is, well, obvious, right? The election isn't actually about democracy. It's about using the aesthetic of public support as a way of bolstering a non-democratic leader. And that's what Republicans are talking about. When Republicans talk about the right people getting to vote, what they really mean is the right people are the people who will vote for us, and they're the only ones who should be able to vote. not because they think they're the ones who are only truly like representative in this country, but because they're only interested in voting as an expression and reaffirmation of power. Do you understand? You get what I'm saying, right? Like it is a fundamentally different way of looking at the electoral process. And because we live in a democracy, a flawed one, but still we do live in a democracy. We're not quite Syria tier yet, you know. There is a relationship between what people vote and what actually happens, however non-correlative it may feel sometimes. We're kind of in an interesting position where we have two parties, one of which, the Democrats, treat elections like elections, and the other, Republicans, treat elections like a way of consolidating power within a group of chosen people. You know, within a of celebrating and of cementing like a perceived, and in this case quite fictitious, like mandate of public will. And you don't normally see a division like that in one country. Usually in one country, you know, people at least are kind of on board with, or you know, at least willing to play ball within the way things work. But Republicans just do not think of elections the way we do, you know? And the Republican officials train their voters to think of it that way as well. Republican voters are being sort of groomed into thinking of an authentic or legitimate voter as somebody who must necessarily vote Republican. You know, that's the goal for them. They want to believe that any vote which is for a Democrat or, you know, whatever, it's not just a disagreeing vote, it's an illegitimate vote. Do you understand the difference? It's not just um they're wrong. It's by being wrong, they have forfeited their right to even be able to participate in this system of power. That's the way they think of it. And that's dumb. And also fascism. Not good. I'm agreeing with this, but how is this different from vote blue no matter who? They're not even related to each other at all. There's no relationship between anything that I just said and my belief that you should always vote for blue candidates. The Republicans aren't saying you should always vote Republican. The Republicans are saying that people who don't vote for them are illegitimate voters. They don't even have a right to participate in democracy. There's no relation. Can you clarify your take from 2 days ago at how we ought to move away if we can, the passports thing? I didn't say you ought to move away if you can. I said make sure your passports are up to date, something I still believe. If we just give up a fascist America, they would export the evil to wherever we'd go, IMO. Would you tell a Jew fleeing Germany in 1932 that they've got to stay and fight? No, and nor will I. Keep your passports up to date. I'll keep hammering on that. To be fair, Germany didn't have nukes. America will probably not nuke the world, and if they do anyway, then it won't matter where you are. Okay? It's fine. It's not fine. All right, end it. Stop. If this country goes fascist, some people are at risk of severe discrimination or possibly death. I still think Republicans are very likely to, at least for a time, destroy our democracy. Probably in 2024. So it would be a good idea to make sure your passports are up to date, because if the writing is on the wall, you want to be one of the people who leaves before and not one of the people trying to leave after they start cracking down. So is it just advice for minorities? No, for all of you. It's just a good idea. It's not hard. It's not difficult. Just do it. I feel like I'm having to explain in mathematical terms why you should wipe your ass. Just do it. Just do it. I don't care. If you are an American, if you live in America, just have your passport updated. Don't ask me why. Don't complain. Just do it. Please, just do that. It won't hurt you. Wait, why should I wipe my ass, Vaush? Yeah, true. Sorry, I'm not trying to be disagree with the community or anything. I just I feel like I've spent 3.5 years saying over and over, it can happen here, and now I'm saying like it will probably happen here, and people are like, wait, what? You know? And it's like, okay. Sorry, I did do it recently, just a little doomery. You updated it recently, then just there you go. You did it. You followed the advice. It's fine.